First kick, I snap into action. When I'm digging in the trenches, get dominated off the line of scrimmage. Read and react quick to make an early diagnosis. Hit you with the quick release like Marino Danny dopeness. Explosive change of direction in the true essence of Reggie Bush. From JT and ZT to DVP and AVG. Terminator to a quarterback, Hunter JP. Steve Ross, the boss, King Flow, and card slinging, gambling genius, Slick Chris Greer.
Hey, good morning, Justin.
Hey, good morning.
So
How you doing this morning?
I can't complain, man. Can't complain. Right. Good day yesterday. Had fun with the family and everything, so I can't complain. Retirement life's okay so far, so I can't complain. Talking Dolphins with you, that's always a beautiful thing. So, real quick, as we always do our little introduction. Justin, where can people find you if they really need to get you?
You can find me at JPF Scout on Twitter. Twitter.com. I don't know what you want to call it out there. But you can find me over there if you need to message me about maybe coming on the show, one of any of the shows that we have, or you want to maybe get yourself some gear. It doesn't matter if it's football, baseball, basketball, hockey, kids or women's. We will straight up hook you up. If you want to get some beanies or maybe a couple hats too to rock is with that. We'll take care of that too. So all the details are with me. So you just direct message me and I will handle everything there from payments and shipments. So that's about it.
Hey, that's great. Thank you, Justin.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So anyway, what are we going to talk about today? We kind of beat the 49ers game down already. So is it starting time to turn that page to the Chargers? Or
oh, yeah, man. I think
we're going to cover.
Yeah, I think we'll talk a little bit about the Niners game once maybe our guest gets in here. Notorious JP on sports, my boy Gino. Once he gets in sometime throughout the hour, might go back through a little bit of a recap of some of the Niners stuff. We ain't going to beat a dead horse, though. But, yeah, it's time to turn the page onto the Chargers, ready to get this game out of the way for us. And I'm sure that taste of losing out of our mouths and that good taste of that savory taste of winning, the delicious crunch of winning back into our brains and into our thoughts. It's definitely time to turn the page.
Yeah, that's for sure. I want a victory Monday. That's for sure. We need a victory Monday, especially this week. Like I said, we've said it a couple of times. It's like that feel of a must win. So we definitely want to have a victory Monday. I see the Dolphins are favorites. I'm not a Vegas guy. I don't gamble, but I did see that the Dolphins are favored on the road, by 3. So that's basically saying, because they give you 3 for being the home team. So they're really liking the Dolphins this week. The guys, the pros in Vegas or wherever go set the odds. So
that 3 points, actually, it's crazy. The Dolphins are favored in that because I am a gambler. I gamble all the time, and I'll be honest with you, those 3 points they put right there, those are usually for the home team, and that's for the home team to be like, hey, we're favored by 3. It might be a little bit of a close game, but like last week, I thought it was a sucker bet with the Niners had that 4 points. I was like, oh, damn, I took the Dolphins right there because usually it ends up being the other way around.
Yeah, well, that's why they call it gambling, and that's why they got big hotels in Vegas because
that's right.
They know how to set those odds, but so you didn't win that one. But hey, like I said, I'm not a big gambler because I never know, man. Every time I think one looks like, oh my god, that's like a give me, So I would lose every single time. That's a good thing that Florida doesn't have legal gambling. That doesn't make it easy. I can't just go gamble and
They do in Colorado, right here from your phone.
Yeah, I know, that's it. So, that's why I'm almost happy because I'd be like, oh, that's a sucker bet. I'm going to win. And then, boom.
Then you lose.
I can't. I would never be able to bet on the Dolphins because I'm just too much of a homer on the Dolphins either way,
I still have one nice, really good bet with the Dolphins, and it's for the Dolphins to hoist the Lombardi Trophy.
Oh, wow.
I'm not taking my money back on that one. I'm going to go ahead and let that one ride out. It's still worth more than the money I invested into it. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I consider myself a little bit avid and smart. I went and dropped like $25-$50 on Tua for MVP, and he's not going to win it. But before that, I cashed it out and still won $100 because I was like, I'll take it.
Might as well. That was smart. Did you bet the win total for the Dolphins? I think it was 8.5. So we're almost.
No, I probably should have though, because by by next weekend or by the end of Sunday night, they'll be there.
Yeah, I know, because 8.5. I just remember that just because I'm a Dolphin fan. Like I said, I don't gamble, and but I do remember. I always look all things Dolphins. I always do want to see.
Same here.
I want to see what people are saying, what the pros are saying.
Plus, those 8.5 wins. I don't know how much I don't think the odds were very favorable. I think it was like plus 500, plus 600, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. But it's still, hey, it's a good bet for whoever placed it, I guess, dude. I mean, it should be. Knock them. Don't get another win by now, we're really screwed. So, remind me of the Cowboys, like when we beat them on Thanksgiving, and we were all thinking as Dolphin fan, oh my God, we're going. This is the year, and then we never won a game after that Leon let game. So you just never know, But I do believe that's almost money in the bank at this point, that 8.5. So anyway, yeah, your guy's not here yet, our guest, but that's all fine.
It's all right. It's all good. He'll be in. He'll pull through in the last seconds or so, or last minute here. Yeah. He'll come by. I know Gino. He's probably taking care of some last minute stuff.
Yeah. But So do you think like Justin Herbert and Tua, they won't say it, of course, out loud, but they both have a little extra juice for this game. They both want it because they hear the comparisons. So I know we would hit that more when we get JP in the house and all that kind of stuff. But we would get into the meat of the stuff. But I just thinking, man, those two, because they will say, because they're both pros, no, it's not about me. It's about the Dolphins versus Chargers versus Dolphins, whoever's talking. But they both deep down they want this one.
I think they both got a chip on their shoulder for this game. Like we've talked about before, they'll be linked to each other for the rest of their careers. Yeah. I think Tua's going to be ready to play, to prove a lot of people like he has been doing all damn year.
Oh, yeah, no, he will. He would bounce
a lot of people wrong that he can't play in big games and big situations.
So it's almost it's actually a little good motivation that he had a little step back this week. So now,
man, it really is. It's crazy that you said that. It's crazy you said that. Like, I was hanging out, like me and my wife are chilling, and she's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "You know what? Nothing. I'm kind of glad this happened." She's like, "What do you mean?" "I'm kind of glad we lost." And she's like, "You serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think it needed to happen." And you know what? I'm going to stay by that. I really do think we needed to lose that game to the 49ers. When I had the games picked all the way from the beginning of the season, I didn't have that. I didn't have that as a win. I had it as a loss. But I'll be honest, man, it's something we need to learn from, grow from, experience. And everybody like last night, dude, Steve was like, "Oh, like shit the bed. Oh, shit the bed, man." We haven't even played a playoff game yet with that quarterback.
I know.
You can't shit the bed until you truly honestly shit the bed, in my opinion. And then you can be like, "Hey, dude, he really messed up." I mean, like Tennessee, we don't have what we have now. So it's a better assessment of what you're gonna get in the future with that quarterback, having a team full around him. Then you're getting a better picture of what you're going to invest your money into.
Yeah, no, I mean, and they were quick, man. Tua's that polarizing guy. They love to knock him when he's down. And a lot of people praise him when he's up. He's just polarizing. And boy, man, because anyone else has a bad game, then they don't jump over him. But man, they were just waiting for Tua to have a bad game so they can say, "Oh, see, I told you once they play a good defense and they play a good team that he was beating." They just waiting and waiting and waiting. They had to wait weeks because Tua kept on kicking ass. But man, the minute he had a little bit down game, they were just like pouncing, man. They were just coming out of the woodwork.
It's like they had that damn thing preloaded. And in fact, they didn't wait weeks, dude. They had to wait till 3/4 of the season was over and to bring that thing out of there. Yeah. So Tua's been playing great. Anybody who thinks that loss was on one guy, you're crazy, man. No. It's just, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, no, the whole team, they just, they had an off game. That happens, So it's just I find it funny that he more than other. And I'm not just saying that as Dolphin. I look back and I see this. Other people, like me, I would never compare a guy to a guy, but I will compare media coverage to a guy. And the media coverage to Tua is just insane.
It's insane.
Guys. It's just insane because other people, Justin Herbert can go have a bad game and they would still love him. And, this kid, he's just playing on a bad team and blah, 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 and make excuses for him. Josh Allen turns the ball over in a critical situation against the Vikings, make excuses for him. Yeah, maybe their resumes they had built up a little quicker than Tua's built up his resume, but still, don't pounce on, you got to be fair in this all from the media.
I agree.
Like you and I, we don't have to be fair. If we want to badge Herbert and, we're just Dolphin fans doing our show here for fun on the, on Dolphins Daily on the Dolphin Thirsty Network. We're just having fun. But these
That's
guys are supposed to be pros and show that there's
Mhm.
some kind of that they're neutral, but they're not.
They're not.
For whatever reason, they don't like Tua. I don't know if it's because he's not a big guy that they're like, oh, we like our quarterbacks big, or he's not mobile like the Lamar Jacksons. There's just something, I don't know, or he got so much publicity in college that they're just like, they don't like. It's just weird. For some reason, they don't like him. Maybe he's too nice, and they're not used to that. They like a guy with a little edge or something.
I don't know, man. It's crazy. Like, I got a buddy on my Twitter that I follow. His name, I think he goes by Coach Fuller. I think Coach Fuller. He had a great tweet yesterday.
Yeah.
He is a great follow. He had a great tweet the other day. I retweeted like, this should be the tweet of the century, and it said something similar along the lines. I remember when the Dolphins had a quarterback here in South Florida that would go out there and throw 2-3 interceptions, and they couldn't wait for him to get the ball back to go out there and try to throw 3-4 more touchdowns.
Right.
And I was honestly like, I agree with every statement, every word he made in that statement, because it's right. He's right. What about when we had Marino? People couldn't wait for him to get the ball back. Now it's like people don't want Tua to have the ball. Like, and I want him to have the ball. So I want to see him throw it. I want to see him win us games, just like all of you guys do, I'm sure. But there is a certain fraction of Dolphins fandom, Twitter, media that doesn't like this kid, man. And they're never going to like the kid, no matter what you tell them. They're not going to come off their stance. They're going to die on that hill. I know people personally who are like, no, bro, I'm a Dolphins fan, but I don't like that quarterback, and I'm not staking my fan.
Good morning, Steve. As always, good morning, Steve.
Steve, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah.
But there's some people who won't.
Talking about you for a minute, Steve, but
they don't like the quarterback, so they'll never put his name to him.
The good thing about Steve is he likes Tua. He would be harsh on him because he's a real talk kind of guy. So he would say when Tua's bad and when Tua's good. But and Steve is never part of that crowd that you were just talking about, that wants Tua to fail no matter what, so they can see, just to say, oh, I told you so.
That's that part of the crowd.
The Dolphins lose just so they can look like, see, I told you Tua wasn't the guy.
And that's bad.
If I was on that boat that said Tua wasn't good, I'd rather just eat crow and my Dolphins win. And then I'd be saying, you know what? I was wrong. Tua's great. And we won. But I was, like I said, I'm an Aqua guy from the beginning. Whoever's on my team, the minute they're drafted, the minute they're signed, undrafted free agent, I don't care if they pick a guy off, Bernie Parmeny from UPS. He's on the Dolphin team, and he's a favorite player of mine because
I remember Bernie Parmely. That was one of my favorite running backs right there.
Yeah, no, he's a good story. It's just like, because he's like one of those guys that you talk about, never give up the dream, and he never gave up the dream, and he ended up playing and contributing to an NFL team for a few years.
Yeah, it was great, man.
That was just great. It's just, great stories like that. That's what's, that's what's fun. And that's what I root for. And that's why I don't understand. I don't say you got to be a blind ass fan and always say, oh, Dolphins #1. Yeah, you can say when they play bad. And you can say Tua played bad. Waddle dropped the ball. Tyreek kills him and unfortunately is going to drop a ball at an important time. Sometimes it happens. But, but just to bash him, it's just, to me, I just don't get that mentality. You can say, oh, man, the Dolphins sucked against the 49ers. And I would say, you know what? They did. It is what it is. It's time to move on. But just to say like I told you, man, Tua sucked, it makes me laugh. I'm like, what's the point? Then why do you root for a team? The reason you root for a team is if you want success. If you're not here for success, why are you even spending?
I don't know.
Fishing on Sunday.
Exactly.
If you don't want the team to win, why bother watching them? It's just crazy that they, I've had enough losing. Like I've told you, my oldest son that's at University of Florida now is 20 years old. He's never seen a playoff win for the Miami Dolphins in the history. So why would anyone want more decades of incompetence?
I don't know. I've been a fan. I've been a fan since '85 and only seen one playoff win. So I can feel just like your son does, but I'm still here because I'm a diehard. But I'll be honest with you, like I wasn't a Ryan Tannehill guy. I didn't really like Ryan, but I was like, you know what? That's my quarterback. Let's go. Come on, we're gonna win. And I'll be honest with you, you got to get behind your guy. And I know, I got players on the team right now that I'm like, I don't like his game. He's a great person and all, but I don't like his game. It's not built for what we're trying to do here. And everybody knows who that is, number 88 and sometimes number 55.
And his game, he's going to go on and be a star somewhere, or maybe not a star, but he's going to go on and be a contributor somewhere and be good, that fits for a system that's just looking for a tight end to catch the ball. and that's it. But
if you're looking for a good 6'6", 265-pound wide receiver that's soft and falls down, yeah, he's your guy.
For the red zone. I mean, some team will find a way to utilize them more than what our system's for, I believe. But,
yeah, you know what? Like I was just watching we were on your show last night, and Steve was talking about how or you too. I think you mentioned this, how like we're underutilizing the tight ends, and the tight ends in this system are non-existent. Dude, you're right. The tight ends in this system are actually just extra tackles. That's all our tight ends are in this system, are extra tackles, and that's how he's utilizing.
Unfortunately, our tight ends aren't that great at blocking, so they're not good for extra tackles. You got to.
Dude, he's playing with what he has, though.
I know you do, but that's why at least in the draft, yes, you're not going to get the kid from like Notre Dame or whatever because we don't have a first-round pick, but you will be able to get guys that are blocking tight end because they're never in high demand with all the other positions. So you can find yourself a blocking tight end in the second round, third round, whatever.
Oh, bro, this draft is loaded with them, dude.
Yeah,
loaded.
So it'd be fine, but so I'm not worried about that.
I want Dalton Kincaid out of Utah.
Okay, I'll remember that name. Like I said, I'm trying to push back all draft talk until my Dolphins are eliminated. Right. But yes, I will keep that name. I know. You can do it all the time because that's what you do, man. You do the draft. I know. I try every year not to talk about the draft until like my Dolphins because I've always, as a Dolphin fan, it's like one of the few things we get to talk about is the draft.
Yeah, usually we'd be talking about draft right now.
Yeah, no, for sure, because that's the only thing we have hope for.
That's right.
So it's good to actually have hope for a playoff spot, and not only a playoff spot, but a legitimate playoff spot where we're in it and we're not on the last weekend saying, "Oh my God, we need this team to lose and this team and a spaceship to land on this stadium." And it's just like sometimes we need all those scenarios. Yeah. I just want to. We're in right now. We're still in control. I'm in behind the Bills.
We are.
Not that it's going to happen. Like I said, the odds are against us, but we're still in control for the division. If we go up there and we win, we win out, we're in the division title. I know that's a big ask, but we would have the tiebreaker over Buffalo and everything, and gain that game back on them by beating them up there. So I just want to keep that flavor in the mouth where we're talking playoffs and and not
same
more playoffs. I know.
Yeah, do you remember that the game that we played before we went on the bye week versus the Browns? You remember that game? You remember how they just emptied the tank in that game? How they just let it all out because they knew they were going to get a break. Yeah, you're gonna need to do that on a weekly basis now.
Oh no, now and forget it. You got it.
Yeah, you're gonna need to just go ahead and empty the tank on a weekly basis, and then when you're done, you're like, okay, well this dude's a little nicked up, and then you're gonna need to pick up the pieces after, and that's how this is gonna work. I mean, from here on out.
Yeah, welcome everyone to the room, man. Thank you for joining. I see some people in here. Comment, become part of the show. So
yeah, man, comment.
Who's here, and we love following people back and everything, man. I see some people in the room. Comment, become part of the show. You can even become a guest on the show in the next few episodes. We love all Dolphin fans, man. And
we want to follow you guys. We want you to follow us back. We want to network with you. We want to connect with you. We want to share our fandoms, hear your side of the story, what you're thinking, even if it's from the other side of the pond, on the other side of the world, like somewhere like London or Australia or anywhere like that. We don't care. We want to hook up with you. We want you as part of our lives as much as you're part of ours.
Yeah, Notorious, are you there?
JP.
Yeah, if I'm not, if you're not notorious, you're not victorious.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, man. Thank you for joining us. Let me get a different banner on there. So anyway, Justin, introduce your great guest you got for us.
This is my buddy JP Gino, Notorious Mofo JP. This is my dog right here. He's a big time Dolphins fan. He's in the community. You can follow him right there at the Notorious JP on Twitter. I told him we were going to have him on in midweek, buddy. So what are your thoughts over the game and what you saw this weekend?
First and foremost, I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. I was going to be here top of the hour, but I had to figure out the phone thing. I still haven't figured out this phone thing in StreamYard, and I'm trying to talk StreamYard, but I managed to get my laptop. But you know what?
Hell yeah.
It was a little bit disappointing, but I'd rather get the disappointing game out of the way now rather than in January and like December. Let's get the game out the way. Let's get the letdown, and let's focus on the push for the division title. Let's push for that number 1 overall seed. You're going to have one. Every great team has that game to where. And look, if our letdown game's against the San Francisco 49ers, that's not the worst team you can have a can I say the word crap the bet against? That's not the worst game you can crap the bet against. I mean, straight up.
I agree. It's a non-conference game. It's a quality team too, so it's not like you're getting beat up by some nobody team.
Right.
Now they have a 5-game winning streak. We had a 5. Now they have a 5. So they're a quality team. So
right. JP, if I could ask you just a little bit more about that Niners game and your thoughts on it. What did you think about the? Of course, the overall results suck, but what did you think about the play calling and the lack of running, and also maybe the drop passes and the killing ourselves, making mistakes, and maybe also, did you think maybe Tua didn't have his most sharpest game overall?
Brother, I think the running game, and the last time you and I spoke on here, that was my point of contention. That was my concern. If you remember at preseason, my big concern at the start of the year was we did not have that guy. We had a bunch of guys, but we didn't, sometimes quantity doesn't equal quality.
Right.
And I think we still, I like Jeff Wilson. Don't get me wrong. I like Jeff Wilson better than any of the halfbacks we brought in the offseason. I include Mostert in that. No disrespect to the Mostert fans out there. I think he is a perfect fit for what McDaniel runs and what this offense is meant to be. But I think Jeff Wilson is more of, and those of you that follow chess will get the reference, I think he is more of a pawn than he is a king. He's that great second piece. We need that, and I'm not even saying we need a Ezekiel Elliott, or we need a, in his prime, or we need a Todd Gurley in his prime, or we need an Eric Dickerson, or a, politics people, we need a Herschel Walker in his prime.
Right.
With this day and age, you don't need that type of halfback to succeed. I get it, but I think we at minimum need a Kareem Hunt level halfback. That guy that you could say is that true go-to guy. Even though people listen and say, "Well, he's a number 2 in Cleveland," yeah, because Nick Chubb's one of the best halfbacks in the National Football League. I mean, you put Kareem Hunt on Miami, he's a top 10 back, and I think anybody here would agree with me on that. I think that's going to be a point of contention with Miami until they fix that. So the running game is still down in the dumps. The drops were concerning. Why he will not use Mike Gesicki is anybody's guess. I'm baffled by that. They need to stretch out offense, and you've got 2 of the fastest guys in the league that are very complementary towards one another because they have a lot of similarities. But then you've got Mikey G, who is that big-bodied guy that's a little bit different. I mean, he's got some speed in his own right. You got to get to the point to where, look, let's use the man. Let's use the man. And if it's trying to prove a point that, look, you're not worth the wide receiver money, let's save the petty baloney for at the Super Bowl parade where you can haggle with his agent and you can sit there and play, slapdashery and grab ass after the fact. Right now my concern is, and I'm not even, Diggs, I've told you from day one, my goal is not to win a Super Bowl this year. Anything's icing on the cake. I want to win a playoff game. I want to win a playoff game. It's been since Peyton Manning was in his second year in the league and the Seattle Seahawks were still in the AFC since they won one. Okay. I want a playoff win. Mike Gesicki gives us a chance to win a playoff. I don't care if he's a blocker. I don't care. I'm sorry. Would I like him to be more of a blocker? Sure. But let's not try to shove a square peg in a round hole and turn this man into something that's not. And let's not utilize him and utilize his strengths because he might have that weakness.
Right.
And that baffles me. The droppings, again, it's concerning, but I'm also going to say that was the norm, not the exception, not the norm. It was really just a crappy game all around. They've had a couple this year. They laid that deuce in the punch bowl, and I'm not talking McAllister either, or Staley. They laid that deuce in the punch bowl in New York against the Jets, and then they laid that deuce here. Let's wipe clean, let's flush the toilet, and let's move forward.
That's right. Yeah, you were at that bowl, that punch bowl right there in New York that time too.
Yeah, brother, that punch didn't taste too good going down. I got to tell you.
Game. Both games had a similarity to me, though, the 49ers and the Jets. The score looked lopsided, but both games that the Dolphins had a chance to take a lead in the fourth quarter, and it didn't happen, and then they just collapsed both times after that. Because remember, all Sanders has to do is kick a field goal, and then we actually got a lead in the fourth quarter, and then that whole game plays out different because then we're not committing the stupid turnovers down in our own, territory. And then yesterday, back on Sunday, we were going for it on 4th down, but then after we didn't get it, that was going to go for the lead. We were driving to take a lead in that game, and then we don't convert that 4th down to Gesicki.
Yep.
And it's just,
that killed our momentum.
It killed
right
us,
there.
and then the scoreboard looked like when you followed the scoreboard, oh my God, the Dolphins got.
Yeah, but it was a lot of garbage time points.
I know, it's like garbage time, and then the fumble, that was just a free, little points for them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, both of those teams just had similarities to me that
So is it safe to say this right now? If you both would agree with this, they're underutilizing Mike Gesicki. I agree with you, JP. I think they should be running him right up the seam, stretch the defense out vertically. And if you're not going to stretch him up the seam, then you can actually use him to move the chains and in the red zone a little bit more. What do you think why they're not using him a little bit more, running him right up the seam?
I think you answer, Notorious. Well,
why do I think they're not running Gesicki up the seam?
Yeah.
Because of his blocking inadequacies.
So they want him to get that squared away before they're going to give him routes to come off of the inline blocks. Yeah,
and that's. I mean, I think that's a big reason of it. I think their offensive line is still unseasoned, and now with Armstead out, I think that's not going to make it any better. But
no,
again, we're talking about trying to shove a square peg into a round hole, and we're minimizing what Mike Gesicki is capable of doing because we're trying to turn this guy into George Kittle 2.0. Look, if you want somebody to run up the middle, that's why you re-sign Durham Smythe.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly the big reason. That's what Durham Smythe's world is about. Let him run up the middle and make those tough blocks, and let Gesicki get open and make the catches.
Right.
And I'm not. Listen, and anybody listening to this later on that's going to say in the YouTube comments, I'm critical of McDaniel. I'm an equal opportunist, fellas, ladies. I love what McDaniel's done. Diggins, you can recall this, and Mr. Thirsty. I'm just going to tell you this. I have said from week 3, I think Mike McDaniel right now is showing me more than any coach has shown me since Don Shula. And I include Jimmy St. Johnson in that mix because Jimmy St. Johnson tried to turn Dan Marino into Troy freaking Aikman, which is, again, square pegging the greatest quarterback of all time into a round hole the size of a flea's behind. Okay. I mean, you don't turn greatness into, a game manager. I'm sorry.
Right.
But I think this is the best coach. We have potentially have the best coach on our hands since Don Shula. So it's not a knock on Coach McDaniel. I think he has done an amazing job so far, but he is human. He is a coach. Every coach that's ever coached this game, from George Halas all the way down the line to Bill Belichick, love him or hate him, who is going to be regarded as the greatest coach probably of all time, screws up. These people make mistakes, and a rookie head coach that has 1 year as an offensive coordinator, of course he's going to have his lumps and his learning curves. And this is one of them. And I'll say this, his learning curves, the worst loss they've had on this schedule so far was the Jets, who look a hell of a lot better than they actually were expected to be. There are no Jacksonville losses. There are no Atlanta shit the beds. There are no games that were like, oh my God, I can't believe we lost to this team.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something else, Thirsty, you brought up that they had in common. 2 of those San Francisco and the Jets lost. They both had a healthy dose of Skylar Thompson, who, was everybody's love interest in the, he was everybody's swipe right in the preseason.
Now look at him.
He's a 7th round pick for a reason. Let's let the guy season before we turn him into Tom Brady 2.0. And 2 is our guy, bottom line, So we had a healthy dose of Skylar Thompson in the second half, and that's fine. Give him big game experience like this. Let him take his lumps. But, you also got to understand we're probably going to take a beating. But I'm veering off course here, though. Gesicki,
no, you're good.
McDaniel is listening. He's probably not. I'm some half-ass ham and egger that lives in Pennsylvania that's got an affinity for Joe DiMaggio, okay? But if you're listening, Coach McDaniel, I know you coach the man every day, but please stop underutilizing Gesicki for his strengths. Let the man be what he is, and that is an elite, game-changing, pass-catching wide receiver, a type tight end. He's never going to be George Kittle. That's, again, let Durham Smythe get the blocks. That's his world.
I agree with you 1,000%, man. I think I've been saying it all season. They're underutilizing Gesicki. You need to run him up the seam. He can stretch out defenses vertically. Hell, he can run the routes and catch the footballs, throw him the football. I don't know what the hell they're doing with the guy down there. I agree with every word he said. They're underutilizing the man. He's not going to be here next year. What's to hurt in throwing him the football? So they need to get routes for him. Mike McDaniel needs to figure out how to utilize him. Because I know after the end of the season, Mike McDaniels is going to be like, damn, I should have threw him the ball. I should have threw him the ball more. So he needs to handle this out now and figure it out right now. But let's get some business out of the way real quick before we continue on. You are watching Dolphins Daily live with Dolphins Thirsty and JPF Scout and our awesome guest, the notorious mofo JP. My boy Gino's in the house today, and we're rocking your guys' heads, talking a little bit of football here, some Aqua and Orange, recapping a little bit of the 49ers game. But let's just continue to move right forward. So
we got a question for you real quick though, Justin, because I know where's Hunter Long? Why is he missing in action? Was he just another busted draft pick? Or?
That's another good question. We all know that the tight end position is a very hard position to learn in the NFL. I'm not making excuses for the kid, but he's just not ready yet. He's not to the point to where they can put him in and plug him in and trust him like they do Durham Smythe, and also like Gesicki. He can block, he can run, he can do a lot of the things that we wish Mike Gesicki could do. He has a real smooth way of getting himself open, like in front of linebackers and behind them when he needs to. He understands, hey, I need to hold this block a little bit of a second before I released out into the flats. I think he understands the nuances of the tight end position a little bit more than Mike Gesicki does. I just think it's going to take him a little bit more time to come along to totally understand it, so he trusts himself, and so the coaching staff trusts him as well. Give him some more time. Don't give up on that kid yet.
All right. And that goes to the same for the Tanner kid.
God, dude, don't give up. Anybody going like, oh, Tanner Connor's a bust. You're an idiot. The kid's a rookie, undrafted, and he hasn't even got his feet wet yet. He's just got a cup of coffee in the NFL. I mean, let this kid develop as well.
So there is hope for the position because we know Gesicki's going to be gone after this offseason.
There's good hope for the position. I think we gotta, we're fine.
That's what I was just saying because we're going to need a few things in the offseason, but that's looking way ahead. But at least it's good to know. Like I know you really study all these guys even on the back, so that's why I like you guys. So that's great.
Yeah, I got a pretty good idea about everybody. 53-man guys that we have on our roster, plus all 16 practice squad guys. I know something about everybody we have.
No, I know you're good, man. You're always you even know other teams' practice squad. I'm like,
I know other teams' personnel as well.
But these guys on other practice squads. I'm like, geez.
I need to know that stuff. That way I know where we need to attack and where we need to improve. But we got a big game coming up Sunday night. Let's talk a little bit about this Chargers game, you guys. What do you think some of the keys going into the game could be? And what do you want to see coming out of the game besides obviously that W? Because we want to win, but what would you like to see us work on? And how do you think Tua is going to bounce back in the overall team? Let's start with our guest, JP. What do you think, buddy?
You're there, JP? Well, I would tell you what I think then real quick.
Go ahead.
And then
we'll go back to him when
you said, we got to avoid the turnover like we did because we turned the ball way over too much against the 49ers. Some of them were garbage time turnovers, but we still turned the ball over way too much. So that's always number one. I know it's cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. It's important. You can't be giving another team free possessions. So keep the football protected. Keep Tua protected. Hopefully Armstead's back. It's sounding good from what the coaches said that it seems like he's really aiming to play. I know we got reports that he might play last week, but this one seems a little bit better. So get him in there. That helps Tua's mindset because I think some of those happy feet was because Armstead wasn't in there. So a couple of times when he did have the time, I think he thought he didn't have the time, and he got a little happy feet. So get Armstead back, avoid the turnover, and I think we come out with a W because basically, I feel like the Dolphins need it. I know the Chargers feel like they need it. They definitely need it, but we need it too. I think it's a must-win for both teams. Definitely for us wearing the aqua and orange. We want the Dolphins to win, and I think the Dolphins are the better team. So hopefully, that comes down to it. So now, JP, are you back with us?
No, that's all right. But I was going to say that when we were going over some of the show from last night, and even in the Fins bandwagon. I think Evan Posner, Evan, the host of the bandwagon, my good buddy. I love you, Evan. He brought up a really good point last night on his show. I kind of want to talk about it a little bit. And that was the fact that maybe Eric Fisher, the seasoned pro that he is, maybe he could be ready to play for this game. I know it's kind of like short notice, Maybe he comes in and plays left tackle, and they save Teron Armstead for Buffalo. And I was like, ooh, damn, that's a thought right there, because he could be onto something right there. They might have that in mind. I don't know how ready to go.
Right? I know.
I don't know how ready Fisher is.
You don't know, but I know you don't know. I was a stupid question, but you know what I mean? What's the odds that someone's NFL ready after being sitting their butts on the couch? I know they work out. Let's face it, they're pro athletes, so he's working out, but it's still not NFL working out. It's not, working with a
someone
team.
Someone like him, dude. I'd probably give him about a 70% chance.
So do you think he'd be better than Greg Little if he's like 70%? I know you said 75%, but say if you go down to a 70% Eric Fisher over a 100% Greg Little, who do you take?
No, I'm putting Little out there still.
Okay, so then why not this? So I don't know. That's why I was just wondering. All right, so yeah, that's it. You can get back into your train of thought. Notorious, if you're back, just join in anytime.
Yeah, man. Whenever you're back, JP, just let us know what you think about some of this Chargers stuff.
I don't know what happened.
We'll see, man. We'll see what their plan and their game plan exactly is going to be. But I noticed our boy Steve, too, on your guys' show last night, brought up the fact that the San Diego – look, I almost called him San Diego like you did, too.
I want to call him San Diego all the time.
The L.A. Chargers.
Yeah.
That their run defense is piss poor, that they're not really good in run defense. So immediately when I see that I'm not a big statistics guy, but immediately I'm like, ooh, I want to run the football then. I want to run the football, and I want to run it some more.
So you want to get a little more taste of like the Cleveland game where we had the run and the pass all going beautiful together.
Yep, I want everything to be balanced. I don't want to turn around and look at the box score and see that we ran the ball a total of 8 times. I don't like that. Even if you lost, I still want to see that you ran almost just as much as you threw it.
Right. Yeah, and then Steve is pointing out that Little actually had a pretty good.
No, he did. He played good. Overall, what they were faced with, like they lost their captain coming into it with the offensive line troubles. I thought they played fairly well.
Oh no, believe me.
And if you mix it all together with like the way the coach kind of, this is not a knock on McDaniels. He's a rookie head coach, but the coach kind of left Brandon Shell out to dry a little bit, man. You left him on a desert island to die by himself. You needed to use the 12 formations I was talking about and the 13 formations I was talking about, plus maybe even put in a 6th offensive lineman here from time to time. Right. You got to start thinking against the grain, man. You have to start doing this as a rookie head coach and be like, oh, man, they think I'm going right. I'm going to go left. They think I'm going to zig. Well, I'm going to zag. And that's how this is won. Like the 4th down calls are just, oh God, they're killing me, man. They're so frustrating to watch.
I have one little side note. I wish John Bozo was as good as his son Nick Bozo.
Yeah, me too.
I would have had some fun watching John Bozo for the Dolphins. I was like, man, this kid can play. Both his sons can play. Unfortunately, the one for the Chargers, he ends up being hurt, kind of like his dad.
I was gonna say it's just like his dad. Then
he kind of takes after his dad being injured, because John Bozo was not a bust. Because I know people want to say for the Dolphins, it's just he was injured a lot. Because I remember taking Eric Kumerow. I know that way outdates
Eric
a lot.
Kumerow, dude.
I know that outdates a lot of, Dolphin fans here, but I remember them taking him in the 1st round.
Call him, Steve.
I think the only McD he knows is the McDonald's drive-through. So, but so if he really knows McD, I'm gonna tell Steve that I'm disappointed he's holding out on our show that we can't get Daniel to be on our show.
That'd be dope.
So, but anyway. Yeah, that Boza boy, he could play. I knew that, of course, going before I saw him. But it's just when you watch him against your team, you're like, that's like mad respect. The guy's all older. He's go, 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 go. He never gets up. Just kind of like our own homeboy, Kristen Wilkins. I know they play different positions, but he just has that motor that never gives up. He just goes, goes, goes. He doesn't care if it's like, even if he loses his block at the line, he would still run downfield and chase the guy. It's just great. It's just. I love that when you see it, and that's why every time I can't say Kristen Wilkins' name without saying, please sign him, Miami, sign him.
Yeah, sign that kid.
Do whatever you have to do to sign him. He's so much for the team. He's
so when
off the field, everything.
When we look at this Chargers game we're going to have on Sunday night, and you look at all the hype around it, all the prestige, all the he-shay, she-shay, Herbert versus Tua, all that hoopla, and you take all of that out of it. When you think of the Chargers offense, what's the first piece you think of? What's the first piece besides Herbert? Take Herbert out of it.
Well, I think that Eckler guy that finds the
bingo.
End zone,
that's the same thing that I thought of. So that's the first.
Every time I watch a I almost said San Diego. Every time I watch a Chargers game, I'm going to stick with Chargers. I won't screw it up.
That's better.
So the Chargers. Every time I watch a game and they're, because they've been on prime time. This is like their third Sunday night game this year. So I will watch them from time to time of other teams. And that Eckler's always scoring a damn touchdown, man.
He's good,
bro. And after seeing what CMC did to the Dolphins, I'm a little worried about him, and hopefully the game plan, they don't put Duke Riley on. Nothing, like I say, Matt, I love me some Duke Riley. He's great. Every time you hear him interview, great guy. He has a motor and everything, but obviously that wasn't a good matchup,
No.
I'm not staff. I'm not in there, but, put someone else other than Duke Riley on a running back coming out of the backfield. I mean, if it go with the rookie, someone that has some speed, at least that can step up with him and whatever. But, that's just me. I don't know how to game plan against him or whatever, but there has to be someone, just not Duke Riley. So, we're not sleeping on him. We're praising him.
Oh, absolutely not. When I see that offense, the first piece I take away as a defensive coordinator will be Eckler. I will shut down the run and make them one-dimensional. Herbert's going to have to do it with Herbert's rocket arm, and then that's how I would keep it, man. I would make them pressure them the same game, not the same game plan. I would change it, but I would definitely make them one-dimensional the way we wanted to make Jimmy G one-dimensional and take away their run. We didn't do that this last weekend, but we could do that this weekend. So they just need to get right back to the drawing board and take away that run to start off. Now, when I go to the other side of the football and I look at the LA Chargers,
I know.
When I look at it does, bro. It takes a long time. The first guy I identify as being a straight up stud on that team is not who you think it's going to be. And everyone's probably like, Khalil Mack. No, Derwin James. Derwin James is the player you want to identify on every single snap coming out of there. JP, you back with us, my man. Awesome. We're talking some Chargers. But I think that's the guy you're going to want to identify on your offense when Dolphins have the football, where Derwin is on every single snap. And I know you loved yourself some Derwin. Oh, I love me some Derwin James, man. But you're going to want to stay away from this guy.
He's a stud. He's a stud.
Absolute stud.
Anyway, Notorious, are you back?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I had to use
all right.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Anyway.
Oh, you're good.
Anyway, Justin, you can ask him anything you want to ask him, and I'm going to try to do some producing stuff here.
Yeah, for sure. So with this big game coming up and all the hoopla surrounding it with Herbert versus Tua and all the he say, she say bullshit, if you take all of these things out of it and stuff, especially for the Chargers, what do you think the game plan going in is going to be, and who do you identify on the offensive side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball that will give the Dolphins some troubles?
Clock management. I think that's the biggest thing.
I like that.
Have Tua continue his precision-like offense with the ball, which, that eats the clock. That keeps the ball out of Justin Herbert's hands, which, Justin Herbert, I mean, we can see people that trash Herbert and, say, well, no, Herbert has that howitzer of an arm that can trash you at any given time. And that's, and they will beat a lot. They will get into a lot of high scoring offensive games with a lot of people. So if Tua can keep it like he's done, let's keep it, let's keep it into a fist fight. Let's turn it into the fist fight rather than into the, run into the slash fest. And I think that's the tail of this tape. Keep the clock, management under control. Players on the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to actually throw off the wall one here, and I'm going to say Shell at tackle, who has played very well since they brought him in. And, Diggins, remember I was raved reviews about when they actually signed him that he's always good for 1 or 2 years, and then after year 3 he falls off the bus. But I think, the key here is the Chargers have a very, very underappreciated pass rush. And I think that if, obviously we know – this is any quarterback. I'm not exactly revealing the secret to who was on the grassy knoll here, but, the key to any quarterback success is keeping them upright.
That's right.
And Tua is no different. Tua is going to be proficient, even though we've seen that he could play well under duress. He's obviously more able to utilize this offense when he's not having to run for his life.
Yeah.
So I think Shell is that guy that you really want to see that's going to have to stand up against the Bosas and the Max and, even your boy Derwin James, who can, if need be, drop back in, into the pocket and start, and put some pressure on that QB.
Yep.
So I think that's going to be the big thing is Shell's going to be that anchor that's going to have to keep that entire offensive line in check and say, all right, guys, let's block this bull rush and, let's give our man time to get the ball to Hill, get the ball to Waddle, get the ball to whoever else they decide to utilize in the offense.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well said.
Yeah, I like what he said about the time management and the time clock, like controlling the clock, because that can keep that offense, which, maybe on the bench a little bit more, and our offense can take control. So I like that theory. I like that. I think going into the game, I think it'll be somewhere similar to what JP was just saying. I think they're going to try to control the clock from a management standpoint, because last game we got doubled up. They had 40 minutes and we barely had 20 on the board, and we don't want that. We would rather control the ball. Dolphins fans shouldn't be down on anything right now, man. Like Rob said already, Dolphins thirsty. We still control our own destiny. The destiny is in our own hands. If the Dolphins want to go out there and just start housing these teams, they can do so. I'm hoping you see them very, very motivated, ready to play for their coach. I said the same thing last week. We'll find out how much they love their coach this week. And just because we lost doesn't mean that they don't love their coach. It just means things didn't work out.
Yeah.
You dropped 8 passes in a game and didn't.
Oh, I think I lost. Now we're losing Justin there, JP.
It's like I was feeling, I think, where he was going with that there, Thirsty. I think he said that, can't give up hope on the coach. Listen, guys, at this time last year, we were all frantic about the fact that we lost. We're one of 2 teams, that handed Urban Meyer a win in the NFL.
Yeah, I know.
The worst coach I've ever freaking seen in my life in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Had one of his 2 wins over the Miami Dolphins. Now, on the flip side of that, he also beat the Buffalo Bills, so there's some light and shining armor. Maybe they can blame Planet Uranus for that one. I don't know, but so last year we were talking about losses to Atlanta and Jacksonville. All right, McDaniel was coming here and said, you know what? Forget it. Last year. We're talking about losses to the 49ers, who are one of the better teams in the National Football League. Okay, I'm not going to sit there. And frankly, this is beneficial because the more they win, as much as a loss sucks, I never want to see the Dolphins lose. But look, the more the 49ers win, the lower that draft pick goes, and that Bradley Chubb for a low first-round pick, ching, ching, sign me up, baby. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like we go from reverse. We're rooting for the 49ers to win from hoping they would lose when we had their pick. So, I agree with you 100% there. And I like to see them win, so we don't feel like we gave up a good pick. And I of course, want to keep on winning just because the NFL already stole our pick. So I didn't want to see, the Dolphins would have had a top, at least our pick's looking like it's going to be in the 20s at least at the bare minimum. So, way up down there. So that's good. It's not going to be as much hurt. Because we would have been really feeling the hurt if it was like a typical Dolphin year where we had like a high pick or, on the top teams and the NFL yanked that pick from us. And, it stinks. But that's a whole other thing. Stupid ass stuff. It's all gone. You don't have a first round pick. It is what it is. That's why I say just keep on winning.
That's right. JP, what do you think about the let's look forward a little bit here, but what do you think about the NFL moving the Miami Dolphins and Buffalo Bills game up to Saturday? Do you think that gives any one team a disadvantage or an advantage over one another? What are your thoughts on that?
Not really. I think they're both, and I'll pay kudos to Buffalo here. So any Buffalo fans listening, I'm going to give you some flowers here. You're a well-coached. They're 2 well-coached teams.
They are
very well-coaced teams. They're teams. And it's like, look, the day doesn't really make a difference. I think that honestly, and being as unbiased as I can here, gentlemen, if I have to give one advantage, those weather elements are going to play a factor for Buffalo. In late December, it's colder than a blind first date that went wrong. Okay. But there's going to be no excuses. So I think the Saturday is actually supposed to be colder than the Sunday. So
okay. Maybe that will be.
No excuses, though. I'm not going to be a Buffalo Bills fan and blame Mother Nature if the Dolphins don't win that one, which we're going to. We're going to go in there and kick Buffalo's behind, and maybe you can blame that on Jack Frost and file an OSHA complaint there too. You know?
Well, you're better than me, Notorious, because I was complaining a little bit about. I know it's just one day, but I was like a little bit like, man, that's crappy on the NFL. I know why they're doing it. It's all about money, prime time, Saturday night game on their network, the NFL network. But to me, I'm like, man, because we know the Dolphins are going to be getting the wee hours on the Monday morning by the time they back in South Florida. But it is what it is. They're grown men. They're football players. The teams have to face against all odds all the time. But I was complaining about it a little bit on our show yesterday because I just feel like, that it's just a little bit tough because now we got to fly out by Friday after getting in the wee hours of the morning Monday. But like you say, it's the NFL. There's no excuses. No one's going to feel sorry for them.
No one's going to feel sorry for us. No one's going to shed a tear for us. That's for sure. They never do.
But I just do think it was kind of a rough move, but it's respect at the same time. So I look at it because this is a good time to put the Dolphins in prime time a couple weeks in a row.
Right.
So so it's nice. So
maybe shoot a couple questions out of the box here. Just NFL ones that I've seen recently come around too. Did you guys see that the Cowboys had Odell Beckham in? And then the physical didn't go good, like they said. They're like, oh, maybe we're cool off of the Odell Beckham talk for just now.
I did see that, yeah.
And then they turned around and tried out Torrey McTyer, former Dolphin, and Mackenzie Alexander, who was in here for the preseason, and they ended up signing Mackenzie Alexander. So I was like, wow, that's kind of strange.
Yeah, well, I guess but they say those injuries can take up to a year, and he got hurt in February. So,
right.
I was kind of surprised he was already back in the market, but some people thought he was already ready, but who knows? It's probably going to be he'd be a target for some team probably in the offseason at this point.
Right.
Hey, come on, fellas. Let's tell the truth. His workout went fine, but he acted like an imbecile on the airplane, and that's what killed the deal.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what happened to him, sure, too, because I heard something about the plane thing. Yeah, I heard about
that. Anyway, but Justin, as always, you cut out there for a second.
I know.
So, like I say, that's our traditions, but that's perfect. You're back. It's almost time to wrap up. So I think you guys, while I do my producing thing in the background, let you guys close out by whatever your final thoughts are. And by the way, thank you so much, Notorious.
Yeah, man.
I've been calling JP Mofo. I've been calling him everything.
You can just call me whatever. You can just call me that asshole. That's what my wife calls me.
All right.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, man. You can call me JP. We're family now.
Yeah.
All right. Cool,
JP's an awesome guest, man. Thanks for coming on. We love having you over here, man. I love having you on the show. He brings great energy. He always has that top-notch football knowledge, top-notch sports knowledge. He's awesome, man. My final thought's going to be kind of like this. We still control everything in our own hands. So you want some dope gear, honestly, hit me up at JPF Scout there on Twitter too. Get at me. I'll get you whatever you want. Kids, women's, whatever, man. Dolphins. Like you want Joe DiMaggio, like my boy JP down there, I'll hook you up, bro. Whatever you want. You want something like my boy Evan, some hats up there in Montreal. We'll keep you warm. You get at me. I got all the details. Right on. But my final thoughts are going to be the Dolphins still control their own destiny. It's all in our hands. This is a cool little stat thing you brought up right here. Tyreek's about ready to shatter up this record from Mark Clayton there. You can see he's got more receptions already than him. Almost, 10 yards away from the yards reception. He'll never catch that TD record right there. He would need a shitload of TDs coming up. But that's a dope record right there. Tyreek's on record-shattering paces here. But Dolphins are still in control of their own destiny, you guys. This is a big game coming up on Sunday night, the biggest as they can get. I'd like to see Tua come out and play with a lot of passion and energy. I'd like to see the whole team play as a whole and come out with passion and energy. I want to see you tackle in the open field. I want to see all the good stuff we've seen, just like that Browns game. I want to see complimentary football. I want to see special teams playing and doing their thing. Jason Sanders, keep hitting your kicks. And with that being said, Gino, what you think, man, to close this thing on out?
Nope. Is he gone?
I don't know.
He might be. It's okay. So anyway, hey, you did a great job closing us out. I was trying to hide us there from the end. I'll go back on real quick. And then...
Yeah. Don't you guys forget to like and subscribe. We're new here, so don't forget to follow my boy over there at dolphinsthirsty.com with his.
And I see some of you in here didn't comment, but that's fine. But try to comment in the future, man. But if you don't want to, that's fine. But you can become part of the show. Like we just had JP on. We just had everyone. We're always looking for guests. All things Dolphin. We're a fins up. We're not going to bash the team. We will talk real about the team, but we're never just going to personally bash anyone. We're aqua and orange people, but we will talk. We're not one of these that are just going to bash to get people. What's the word? Clickbait. See, I'm not even an internet guy. We're not going to clickbait you by saying, "Oh, Tua sucks," to get you in here to bash us. No, we're aqua and orange. We talk real talk, like Steve likes to say. That's the name of his show that I'm co-host with him. Is Real Talk Fins Talk.
Real Talk
Fins Talk. Fins Talk Sports Network, which is another great follow. Great, they got a lot of Dolphin content. If you like wrestling, basketball, and I don't know,
they got everything.
They're just about everything. It's really a great network. So thank you guys for joining. We're gonna close this puppy out. JP, are you still there? Thank you again, and you guys all rock. Yeah.
Hey, anytime you need somebody to make a fool of themselves, I'm going to text away.
Oh, then you're welcome here all the time. We like making fools of ourselves on a daily basis.
You're our favorite local.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man.
And anyway, fins up and hit that like and subscribe button on the way out.
Hit that like and subscribe button. He who laughs last laughs best, baby. Let's go. Dolphins Sunday night.
First kick, I snap into action. When I'm digging in the trenches, get dominated off the line of scrimmage. Read and react quick to make it early diagnosis. Hit you with the quick release like Marino Danny dopeness. Explosive change of direction.